Game 2, New York Islanders, Tampa Bay Lightning. We've got the game summary coming up. Welcome back to Puck Dudes. All right, Paul, we had a little spice to the end of that game. Give me your thoughts. We'll start at the end of the game. What do you think? Were some messages being sent there? Give me your thoughts on that.
I don't know. I know that's what the commentators will all say, and that they're saying that there's messages being sent, but I think the messages are sent on the scoreboard, and you can try and run these guys out of the rink. These guys are champions. They've been through this before. You're not going to intimidate them. Come on. I don't know if there's any place in the game for that nonsense anymore. You know, I'll send out my fourth line tough guy with no talent, and he'll beat on your fourth line tough guy, and that sends a message. It's garbage. We got to get rid of that in the game. It's stupid.
Very good. Thank you. All right. So coming back to the start of the game. Obviously, right from the opening face-off, it was clear that Tampa Bay's top line, they were back tonight. Obviously, there was a lot of criticism that they were a little quiet in the first game. Obviously, they had a lot more presence tonight. What are your thoughts there? Is there still room for improvement? Was there enough presence from that first line, or did you like what you saw on the Tampa side?
Well, I've read about what I think Tampa's going to do this year. They're already the champions. It's everybody else's job to knock them off the pedestal. I don't know if that's going to happen now. Looking at the Final Four, they're just so good. They're just so deep. They've got four lines that can roll. They're a mixture of heavy bodied players that will throw their weight around, and they've got enough talent just exuding. And now with the defense jumping in too, finally, I think that's a difference maker. It depends on whether the team game that Trotzy has the Islanders playing will get them there or not. But I don't think Tampa's unbeatable, but they certainly look pretty good.
So first period, Tampa's up 1-0. I think it's Brayden Point. He's on a rush, and it's Pelech that's trailing behind him, and Pelech gives him a little shove right into his own netminder, and the collision, all the rest. There's a penalty, and then the Islanders score early on the ensuing power play. First of all, what are your thoughts there? Do you think it was a missed call there? And if so, what are your thoughts in terms of whether that kind of play should be reviewed more carefully, possibly overturned?
So I'm going to go against what the common knowledge is. I was listening to the broadcasters tonight on the game, and they were saying, oh, he was pushed in by Pelech, and that's on Pelech for doing that, and blah, blah, blah. But I think Brayden Point took a freebie. He knew he was going to go in. Those guys, especially a guy like Point that does everything at such a high rate of speed when he plays the game, he knew where he was going to go in, whether he was going to get hammered or not. And he didn't have to hit him as hard as he did. He stepped into him and then blames the defenseman for it. I think in that case, if they want to get this out of the game, you penalize the defenseman for cross-checking him into his goalie, and then you penalize Point for not making an effort to get out of the way. Because it clearly rattled Varlamov. He wasn't as good after he came back into the game. We'll see if that affects him going forward. With all we know about CTE and that in the game, they got to stop this nonsense and letting them run each other over and get away with stuff like that. It is a bang play, and you can say, well, he maybe wasn't able to get out of the way. I don't know. I disagree. I think those guys are so good that they can change up even when they're going at 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, I need to say, first time I watched the first showing of the replay on that, I thought, it was pretty clear that the Pelech shove did direct Point, and Point was possibly heading off to the left, and Pelech's shove did push him into the goaltender. But I'm kind of watching the second time. I'm kind of agreeing more with you after some more replays on that. The fact is, Point put himself in a position where he was bearing down on that net at a pretty high rate of speed, and momentum was taking him there, and maybe Pelech redirect him a bit. But yeah, I see your point there. Second period now. For Tampa's go-ahead goal, it didn't affect the commentators made the point. It didn't affect the outcome of the goal, but you had 6 guys on the ice. The sixth man was maybe about 20. He was head towards the bench, but he was about 20 feet away. What are your thoughts there?
Well, first of all, it was 7 guys on the ice because they showed Barry Trotz up close, and he said 7. Then there was an expletive that you could make out from what he was saying. That's an egregious mistake on the NHL officiating. The officiating has not been good these playoffs, but we have all these instant replays, and we can challenge goals on other nonsense. So why couldn't we challenge a goal on this? I think it's more important to get the call right than to say, the rules say one thing. At this stage of the game, when the games are so important, the NHL needs to figure that out and get it straightened out.
I wondered whether there was a little bit of karmic turnaround after the previous call going the one direction and then that one. Who knows?
Perhaps so. And that I forget which official it was recently just got himself into trouble for being caught audibly saying he wanted to even things up. I mean, they're humans, so they're going to make mistakes, and they're trying to call a fair game and do their best job. But when you start to cover stuff like that up, it doesn't look good for the optics of the league.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Jan Ruda's goal. Is not often you see a double pump wind up. That I think he had his stick pretty much in the full vertical, winding up for that double pump for that slap shot. Just even watching him in the replays afterwards and seeing just how ready he was for that puck, it seemed to me almost like emblematic of how Tampa played tonight. They just seemed ready right through. I mean, here's a guy who hasn't scored in months, and he just had that. He had that readiness, and I think he also had 3 or 4 shots tonight. Tampa came ready, didn't they?
I agree 100% with that statement. Basically, they looked like Vegas did against Montreal the other night. They were all rolling. They were all playing together. They were 100% value for the effort they put in. They certainly got some breaks. That Pelech goal, 7 men on the ice, but it wouldn't have mattered. They were going to win anyway tonight.
Yeah. Really liked also the discipline they showed in that power play that led to the Victor Hedman goal. I mean, they were patient. They were moving the puck around. They obviously had a lot. I just felt like they were gaining confidence as the game went on. Did you see something there?
I agree as well. I think again, it's very similar to what happened with Montreal and Vegas the other night. They were in sync, and they were doing things well, and then that made the Islanders be back on their heels. And when they were on their heels, they were making mistakes, and they were taking penalties that they didn't need to take, and they were making plays that they shouldn't have made. I think they'll be better next game. I think the coaching staff in just the whole organization with the Islanders, they're a lunch pail type of team. They're going to come back. They'll be better next game, and they're not going to just go away easy. But I think Tampa just has so much talent. You just look at the way Kucherov dominated this game tonight. It was, things he can do with his edges and his stick handling and his passing, his vision. He's the real deal. And it's like he never missed any of the season. Look at where he is. He's way on top of the scoring. So that says enough right there.
Yeah. All right. After game 1, the conversation, all the dialogue was around what does Tampa need to do? Who are they going to have to rely on in order to get the momentum back? They've succeeded in that. Now we're going into game 3, series going back to New York. And now, of course, the question's going to turn around. Now, who does New York rely on? So if you're the Islanders, who are you thinking might be that player who could be the spark if they're going to turn it back around, get the momentum back in their direction? Who are you looking to maybe be the difference maker?
Well, I think that you got to look at your grinders in a situation like that. Obviously, their main go-to guy is Matty Barzal. He's the skill guy on the team.
Yeah.
But I think you're looking at guys like Anthony Beauvillier and the bangers, the Matt Martins, the Travis Zajac. Look, you saw what Travis Zajac was trying to start at the end of the game. He's been there before. He knows the things to do to wake them up. So the older veteran leadership. We'll see. I think you're going to have a concerted effort from the entire team. I think the only way this Islander team wins is if everybody plays as one unit, and it doesn't try and focus on one or two players.
Right on. All right. Well, thank you for that. Looking forward to next game, Vegas, Montreal, coming up soon. So we'll be ready to cover that one again. Thank you everyone for joining us, and if you check in the description below, we'll have a link to our website. Appreciate if you would give us a thumbs up as well if you've gotten some value from this video. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Take care, guys.